Have you ever noticed something strange? The people earning the most don't always seem to have the most money. In fact, many professionals making $80,000, $100,000, or even $150,000 a year still feel like they're waiting for the next paycheck. Every promotion brings excitement, but only for a few weeks. Then somehow life feels expensive again. So here's the real question. If your income keeps growing, why doesn't your financial freedom grow with it? The answer isn't laziness, bad luck, or a lack of ambition. It's something much quieter, something built into the way most of us think about money long before we ever receive our first paycheck. And once you see it, you'll begin to understand why so many high earners never actually feel rich, even after every raise. Imagine a 29-year-old marketing manager living in Chicago, or perhaps a software engineer in Manchester. Different countries, different currencies, but surprisingly similar lives. A few years ago, graduating from university and landing a stable job felt like the finish line. They imagined that once they earned a good salary, money would stop being a constant source of stress. At first, that prediction seemed accurate. Their first full-time paycheck felt enormous compared to what they earned as a student. After paying rent and buying groceries, there was still money left over. They could finally enjoy dinners with friends, take short vacations, and buy things they had wanted for years. It felt like they had made it. Then something changed. They received their first promotion and their salary increased by $10,000 a year. Friends congratulated them, family members said they were doing well, and the future looked brighter than ever. But only a few months later, that raise barely felt noticeable. The bank account still emptied before the next payday. Saving money still felt difficult, and financial stress never truly disappeared. It simply evolved into a different version of itself. This isn't unusual. Across the United States and much of Europe, millions of professionals experience exactly the same pattern. Every raise improves income, but it also quietly changes expectations. Without realizing it, people begin building a more expensive version of what they consider normal life. The apartment that once felt perfectly comfortable suddenly feels too small. The older car starts feeling embarrassing compared to coworkers' newer models. Vacations become longer, restaurants become nicer, and monthly subscriptions multiply one after another. None of these decisions seem irresponsible on their own. In fact, each purchase feels completely reasonable when viewed individually. The problem isn't that people suddenly become reckless. It's that every improvement arrives so gradually it never feels like a major financial decision. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" the question slowly becomes, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" That small shift changes everything. Think about someone earning $90,000 a year in the United States. On paper, that sounds like an excellent income. But taxes reduce that number before the money even reaches the bank account. Depending on where they live, their take-home pay might be closer to around $5,500 each month. Now let's see where that money quietly goes. Rent for a comfortable apartment might be $2,000. A car payment could be $600. Car insurance adds another $150. Utilities and internet cost around $300. Groceries for one or two people easily reach $600. Student loan payments might take another $400. Credit card payments add $300 more. Streaming services, gym memberships, phone bills, and software subscriptions quietly consume another $300. Before entertainment, before investing, before building wealth, nearly $4,600 has already disappeared. That leaves less than $1,000. It sounds like plenty until real life begins. A wedding invitation arrives. A birthday gift needs to be purchased. The car suddenly needs repairs. Flights become more expensive during the holidays. Friends invite everyone out every weekend. Inflation quietly pushes grocery prices higher. Suddenly that remaining money disappears too. So despite earning a salary that once sounded impressive, life still feels financially tight. This creates one of the biggest psychological illusions in personal finance. Most people assume feeling wealthy comes from earning more money. But earning more only changes one side of the equation. If spending quietly expands alongside income, the feeling of financial pressure never actually leaves. It simply moves to a higher income level. That's why someone earning $50,000 can feel financially stressed, while someone earning $120,000 experiences almost the exact same emotional pressure. The numbers change, but the mindset remains trapped in the same cycle. And perhaps the most surprising part is that almost nobody notices it's happening. From the inside, every financial decision feels logical. A safer car makes sense. A nicer apartment improves quality of life. Better furniture lasts longer. Eating out saves time after long workdays. Individually, none of these choices seem like mistakes. But together, they create something much more powerful than a single expensive purchase. They create a lifestyle that quietly consumes every future raise before it even arrives. This is where the story becomes more interesting because the problem isn't simply spending too much. The deeper issue is that most people never actually experience the full benefit of earning more money. Every raise feels like progress, but before that extra income has a chance to improve their financial future, it has already been assigned a new purpose. Imagine receiving a raise of $12,000 a year. On paper, that sounds significant. Friends might tell you that you're finally making good money. But after taxes, that raise may translate to roughly $700 more each month in your bank account. Now think about how easily that $700 disappears. A slightly larger apartment adds $250 to the monthly rent. A newer SUV replaces an older, reliable car, increasing the monthly payment by another $300. Higher insurance premiums take another $50. A few additional dinners out, upgraded streaming services, and small online purchases quietly consume the remaining $100. Within a matter of weeks, an entire raise has been converted into higher monthly obligations. What's surprising is that none of these purchases feel extravagant. The apartment feels more comfortable. The car feels safer and more enjoyable to drive. The dinners become part of a busy professional lifestyle. Each decision seems reasonable on its own, but together they create a new financial baseline. This is why many professionals look back 5 years later and wonder where all the raises went. They remember earning far less in the past, yet somehow they don't feel noticeably wealthier today. Their income has grown, but so has the cost of maintaining their version of a normal life. Behavioral psychologists sometimes refer to this pattern as lifestyle adaptation. Human beings adjust remarkably quickly to improvements. The things that once felt exciting slowly become ordinary. The apartment that once felt luxurious eventually feels average. The new car loses its novelty after a few months. The expensive coffee becomes part of the morning routine instead of an occasional treat. Our brains are incredibly efficient at turning today's luxury into tomorrow's expectation. That process isn't limited to possessions. It also affects social comparison. Imagine joining a company where most employees drive modest cars and live in average neighborhoods. You probably wouldn't think much about your own lifestyle. But after receiving promotions, you begin spending time with colleagues who earn more than you. They take expensive vacations, wear designer clothing, upgrade their homes, and talk casually about purchases that once seemed unimaginable. Without anyone directly telling you to spend more, your definition of what feels normal quietly shifts. This isn't about showing off. Most people aren't trying to impress strangers. They're simply adapting to the environment around them. Psychologists have long observed that people evaluate success relative to those nearby rather than by any objective standard. That's one reason a household earning $90,000 may feel comfortable in one neighborhood but financially behind in another. The income hasn't changed. The comparison has. Now let's add one more piece to the puzzle. Imagine two co-workers, both earning $100,000 a year after several promotions. The first spends nearly every raise as it arrives. Monthly expenses increase alongside income, and by the end of the year there's very little left to save. The second receives exactly the same raises but chooses a different approach. Instead of allowing every increase in income to become a permanent increase in spending, they continue living almost the same lifestyle for another year or two. They enjoy a few meaningful upgrades, but they resist the pressure to expand every category of their budget. Suppose they invest just $500 from each monthly raise instead of spending it. $500 doesn't sound life-changing. In a world filled with luxury homes and six-figure salaries, it almost seems insignificant. But over 10 years, without even considering investment growth, that's $60,000 simply because one person captured part of each raise instead of consuming all of it. Once you include a reasonable long-term investment return, that gap becomes dramatically larger. The difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't luck. It wasn't earning a dramatically higher salary. It was one quiet decision repeated every time income increased. Most people think wealth is created by earning extraordinary amounts of money. In reality, wealth often begins with something much less exciting. Creating space between what comes in and what goes out. That's why two people with identical careers can arrive at completely different financial futures. One owns a more expensive lifestyle, while the other quietly builds financial freedom. From the outside, they may look almost identical. They drive to the same office, earn similar salaries, and shop at the same stores. But beneath the surface, they're living completely different financial stories, and over time, that invisible difference becomes impossible to ignore. The difficult part is that this pattern rarely creates an immediate crisis. Most high earners continue paying their bills on time, maintain a healthy credit score, and receive regular promotions. From the outside, everything appears to be going exactly as planned, which is precisely what makes this financial trap so difficult to recognize. Real financial problems don't always begin with missed payments or overwhelming debt. Sometimes they begin with a life that becomes too expensive to walk away from. Imagine someone who has spent the last decade building a successful career. They now earn $120,000 a year, own a beautiful home with a sizable mortgage, drive a premium SUV with a monthly payment, take 2 international vacations every year, and pay for children's activities that cost hundreds of dollars each month. None of these choices are irresponsible on their own. In fact, they may seem like the natural rewards of years of hard work. But together they create something invisible. Before the month even begins, thousands of dollars have already been committed. Every paycheck arrives with a long list of obligations waiting for it. Now imagine this person begins to dislike their job. Perhaps a new manager changes the company culture. Maybe the workload becomes overwhelming, or perhaps the work simply no longer feels meaningful. Under different circumstances, changing careers would be an exciting opportunity. But now it feels almost impossible. Accepting a new position that pays even $10,000 less doesn't seem realistic. Taking a few months off to recharge feels financially irresponsible. Starting a business appears far too risky. Working fewer hours to spend more time with family isn't even considered. Not because they lack ability or ambition, but because their lifestyle has quietly removed their flexibility. This highlights one of the biggest differences between income and wealth. Income gives you purchasing power today. Wealth gives you freedom tomorrow. Many people spend years increasing the first while unintentionally preventing themselves from building the second. There's another reason this cycle continues. Modern consumer finance has made expensive lifestyles feel surprisingly affordable. Years ago, buying something expensive usually required saving money first. Today, almost everything can be broken into monthly payments. Cars, furniture, smartphones, home renovations, vacations, and even everyday purchases can be financed or placed on a credit card. As a result, the conversation changes from, "This costs $30,000, to, "It's only $450 a month." Our brains naturally focus on the smaller number because it feels easier to justify. $450 doesn't sound overwhelming. But repeat that calculation 5 or 6 times and the picture changes completely. A car payment here, furniture financing there, a new phone upgrade, a home improvement loan, and a few recurring credit card payments. Individually, each commitment feels manageable. Collectively, they quietly consume future income that hasn't even been earned yet. This is why many professionals experience a strange feeling after receiving another raise. They don't celebrate for long. Instead, they immediately begin thinking about what they can upgrade next. Not because they're irresponsible, but because that's the financial environment they've lived in for years. Advertising rarely encourages people to create financial breathing room. Instead, it constantly suggests matching your lifestyle to your earning potential. Get promoted? Upgrade your car. Receive a bonus? Book the luxury vacation. Start a higher-paying job? Move into a larger home. Success becomes measured by visible improvements rather than invisible financial strength. Financially intelligent people tend to approach the same situation differently. Instead of asking, "What can this raise buy?" they quietly ask, "What can this raise build?" At first, those questions sound almost identical, but they lead to completely different outcomes. The first focuses on immediate satisfaction. The second focuses on future freedom. Imagine receiving another $700 each month after a promotion. One person immediately adjusts their lifestyle until every extra dollar disappears into new monthly expenses. Another person enjoys a few meaningful improvements but intentionally allows part of that raise to remain untouched. Not because they believe spending money is wrong, and not because they refuse to enjoy life, but because they understand that every permanent increase in monthly expenses creates another long-term obligation, while every dollar saved or invested becomes another resource working quietly for their future. Over enough years, those repeated decisions begin creating entirely different lives. One person becomes dependent on maintaining a high salary forever. The other slowly reaches a point where work becomes more of a choice than a necessity. Ironically, both may appear equally successful to friends and co-workers. They may drive similar cars, live in similar neighborhoods, and earn similar incomes. But beneath the surface, one carries constant financial pressure while the other carries something much more valuable: flexibility. The ability to absorb unexpected expenses without panic. the confidence to change careers if a better opportunity appears, the freedom to prioritize health, family, or personal goals without every decision being controlled by monthly bills. Those advantages rarely receive attention because they aren't visible. You can't post financial flexibility on social media. No one compliments you for having low monthly obligations or a well-funded investment account. Yet these invisible strengths often matter far more than the visible symbols people spend years trying to acquire. Perhaps that's why many genuinely wealthy people seem surprisingly ordinary. They don't necessarily earn dramatically more than everyone else. They've simply learned to separate their income from their identity. Once your lifestyle stops expanding every time your salary increases, something remarkable begins to happen. Your raises stop disappearing. Instead of making your life look more expensive, they quietly make your future more secure. And that is often the moment when people begin to understand what real wealth actually feels like. Not a bigger paycheck, but a growing sense of freedom that comes from keeping more of what you earn instead of automatically giving every new dollar another monthly responsibility. By now, it should be clear that this story was never really about earning a higher salary. A larger paycheck can certainly improve your life. It can reduce financial stress, create opportunities, and make everyday living more comfortable. There's nothing wrong with wanting to earn more money. In fact, increasing your income is one of the smartest financial goals you can pursue. But income alone doesn't determine whether someone feels wealthy. What truly shapes that feeling is the gap between what you earn and what your lifestyle demands every month. Two people can earn exactly the same salary, live in the same city, and work similar jobs, yet experience completely different levels of financial freedom. One constantly worries about the next paycheck, while the other sleeps peacefully knowing they could handle an unexpected expense, take time off if necessary, or make a career decision based on what they truly want rather than what they simply have to afford. The difference usually isn't visible. It's hidden inside hundreds of small financial decisions that rarely attract attention. For years, we've been taught to associate success with things that other people can see. A larger home, a newer car, luxury watches, designer clothes, and expensive vacations have become common symbols of achievement. Those things may reflect spending power, but they don't always reflect wealth. Real wealth is often invisible. It's the investment account that quietly grows year after year. It's the emergency fund that turns a financial setback into a temporary inconvenience instead of a crisis. It's having enough financial breathing room to turn down a job that doesn't fit your values or to spend more time with the people who matter most. Those moments don't generate likes on social media, and they rarely become topics of conversation at dinner parties, but they create something far more valuable than status. They create peace of mind. Perhaps that's why many genuinely wealthy people don't always look the way society expects. They don't automatically upgrade every part of their lives each time their income increases. They understand that every raise presents two choices. One choice improves today's lifestyle. The other improves tomorrow's freedom. Neither choice is completely right nor completely wrong because money is meant to improve our lives, not simply sit untouched forever. The goal isn't to avoid spending or to feel guilty whenever you buy something you genuinely enjoy. The goal is to recognize the trade-off behind every financial decision. Every new monthly payment reduces a little flexibility in the future, while every dollar saved or invested quietly expands it. When you begin viewing money through that perspective, it becomes less about impressing other people and more about creating options for yourself. And maybe that's the most important shift of all. Feeling rich isn't necessarily about reaching a specific income level. It's about reaching a point where your money serves your life instead of your life serving your monthly bills. The next time you receive a raise, you might ask yourself a different question. Not, what can I afford now? But, what kind of future do I want this raise to help build? That single question probably won't transform your finances overnight, but over the next 10 or 20 years, it can quietly influence hundreds of decisions that shape your financial future. Small choices, repeated consistently, often matter far more than dramatic ones made only once. The people who eventually experience genuine financial freedom usually aren't the ones who earn the most money. More often, they're the ones who learn to keep a meaningful portion of every increase in income instead of allowing every raise to become a permanent increase in spending. That's the quiet difference between looking successful and becoming financially secure. If you enjoyed this perspective and want more thoughtful conversations about money psychology, personal finance, and long-term wealth building, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.